Alright, these valve bodies or the separator plates, the valve bodies are bad about wear, but the separator plates are bad about the balls eating into them also. So pay close attention to where your balls seat in there. 250 thousandths ball there's 6 of them, and separator plate goes on, and let's see, we got 2 of these. Yeah, I think one goes there, one goes here, and then we have 2 accumulators. These are getting fairly worn, so these are bad about wear too. Accumulator goes in, spring goes up on both, and then there's 1/4-inch balls there and there. Separator plate goes on. This plate goes on here. $8mm bolt goes there and there. Sounds like something out there has some timing issues. Alright, this one here does not need to go on there. And I would just leave that loose until you got the valve body on there and tighten that up. I believe that one goes right there. Alright, a couple things about this solenoid assembly. These clips right here, it's recommended that you replace them every time they get worn out. Some kits will come with them, otherwise you're going to have to order them separately. On 2 of these valves, you have to take these roll pins out to get these valves out right here, and it sits on there just like that, and you can get right inside here where they sit, and you can see where they are, and you can pop them up just a little bit. Let's see, where do they go? They go on these 2 right here, so you can get right inside right there, and you can pop that up. Just be careful doing it. And let's go ahead and stick these 2 back in there. The valve goes up in the back side of it here, will not come out the front. Spring goes in the back. You might want to put some grease in there to kind of make sure that the spring stays in it. And then you're going to want to put this one this way, and make sure that it's free once you get all that in there. This one here, you're going to want to point it this way. Actually, I need to lay this down a little bit. And I got to turn that back just a little bit. We are off. Okay. Alright, it's all free. Okay, when you get these valves or these solenoids in there, if you can take the solenoid and rock it back and forth, if you get violent with these things, you can do it anyway. But if you grab this thing and it's moving around, this valve body's worn out, you need to replace it. Putting the new clips on it's probably not going to fix it. And these go in just like that. Alright, why are you not sitting in there properly? And you take these solenoids out, you're going to want to mark them and make sure that you get them back in the correct position. There we go. And these other two don't have a sleeves, they just have the valves, and these valves need to be super free. If they're dragging, you can try to clean it up. I've yet to make one work that was sticking, and try to get it to free up and it stay free. Like I said, this one's getting a whole new valve body, so I'm not worried about this at all. I did get new clips in my kit, but I don't need them because I'm just going to waste them if I stick them in here. It's going to go back as a core. Alright, there's two O-rings on each of these solenoids. And then the clip holds it in. Okay, there are two accumulators here. They wear out just like all the others. They go with the spring up. We have two short bolts here. Let's go ahead and measure them, I guess. Two-inch, 795. There, and there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that are 3-inch, 573. That goes there, there. 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 And there. And we have 6 that are 3" 955. Okay, get the wiring harness. I had that one in the wrong spot, need to go over here. I got 2 bolts here that are the same, 3" 950. Then there's a short one. It's 28 thousandths. And that's going to go there and there. And that's going to go there. Alright, we got green and gray and brown and purple, it looks like. Blue and gray. Once you get those in, pop the tab this way and lock that in place. We got white and blue, green and gray, it looks like. We got white, and looks like just blue. Come on now. Go in. We got white and green. And brown, gray and purple. Gray and brown. Blue. Green, purple and black, gray and brown, purple, and yellow and brown, gray and brown, looks like. This goes to the IMS sensor. This goes to the temp sensor. Yeah, it bolts into the case. Alright. Okay. We have the sleeve and a shuttle valve goes in there, open end faces out. This valve goes in with the stem, long stem facing out. We don't want it to be like that, are we? spring end plug. And retainer. Alright, bushing recess is 240 thousandths. There's a sealing ring here. Cut it off. Resize this one like you did the others and put a hose clamp on it. Hold it in place. There's a washer. The tab goes here. Just pop it into place. It's 373 thousandths ball that goes here. I only got one plate in my kit, but I have been told that there are 2 different plates at least. So do match up your holes before you just stick this plate on there. Plate goes right here. Alright, I got to do the pump part of it. I'm having a hell of a time getting this snap ring out of here that holds this in. I don't think I'm gonna bother taking it all the way out. Oh, there's a seal. Goes back here, and there's another bushing. And the bushing, let's see if we can get a good measurement off of it. 605 thousandths. And then the seal is recessed 113 thousandths. And your seal is going to go in there. Alright, let me get the pump and I can do that part of it. This pin does not want to come out, so I'm going to leave it in there. This pin goes here. Dot goes up, and we want the housing to be sitting like this. This dot right here is going to sit this way. Let's see. Rotor goes with the dot up. The vanes go in. There's 12 of them. It probably would be easier if I could get that other pin out and line all this up, but we're going to see how it goes. This is a goofy little pump right here. So we're going to have to line that shaft up. Oh, there is a bushing down in there. Forgot to measure the recess for you. I'll have it at the end of the video. Let's see, it's all in there. This plate goes on. This little leg right here is facing at the 7 o'clock position. And this gasket goes on here. And this gasket goes on here with that little leg facing that way. And then on the front here is our seal. Goes in that way. Just press it in until it's all the way flush. Found it easier just to assemble it on there and then put the cover on at the end of it. 30 Torx bolts, 80 inch-pounds go here. Gotta put my seal in. And then there's another washer that goes here. This front bushing didn't look near as bad as the rear bushing, and the bushing that they gave me for the front is about half the width as the one that's in here. So I'm not going to change it. It's still good enough. The back one was fairly worn, is the same height, so I went ahead and changed that one out. The gear goes with the dark side up, and there's nothing on the chain, so it shouldn't matter which direction it goes. Line faces up on the gear there, and then you just set it on here and put the ball in right there, put the plate on here, and we'll put it on the converter housing tomorrow. I put 3M weather strip adhesives on my seals, so if you desire, you can put that on there. This washer tab goes there, just pops into place. Sometimes they'll stay in there when you're taking it apart. It'll stay. Some kits you get these, some kits you don't. The bevel snap ring, bevel goes up, recess of this ring gear goes down. You don't need to take this out unless it's bad. You got the seal for the chain scoop here. There's a bearing that's down in here. Just make sure it's good. It's not going to come out unless you pry it out. I would just leave it. Bushing this down here in this case will not come in the bushing kit, so keep that in mind. It's recessed 50 thousandths. Let's see. We need to put our chain assembly on. Stand it up and put it on this way. Come on now. It being difficult. Oh. Gotta put my filter on. Put your filter seal in your pump assembly. Go ahead and lube that filter up a little bit. Alright, put the filter in so that that little tab is sitting right there. Stand this up and see if we can get this all to cooperate. May have to put some grease on that. Help keep that from falling. There we go. Alright, we got our baffle. There's 3 little tabs have to pop in down here. little tab right here on the filter is going to sit right there. £53" on the first pass, and then add 20 degrees to it with the angle meter. I'm just going to go ahead and do the first pass now, and then I'll break out the angle meter and do those once I get all of these in there. On the front side, you're going to want to replace these, and they're 10 millimeters. They do have silicone embedded in the head of them so that they will seal once you tighten them. Once you tighten them, you have to take them back off. You need to replace them. And I believe there's 19 of these. Yes, there's 19. These are 53" also. Add 20 degrees on your second pass. Got the baffle. It goes on here. There are two 8mm bolts. Hold that in. 89" I believe it was. 80" I'm gonna get down in there. And about right there. Okay. And our bearing sits on here. This is going to go onto the gear in the transmission first, and you're going to put your bearing on with the lip down, and then your diff is going to sit on top of that. They have a D-shaped ring that goes here. D-shaped ring, black one that goes here. You got a D-shaped orange one that goes in the second groove. Got a cushion plate, steel. There's a little bit of hot spots on here, but they're not bad enough to really worry about. Clutch, and no, I don't soak my clutches. Never seen a difference doing it and not. If you feel like you need to soak your clutches, and by all means go ahead and do it. Got a snap ring and short end of the taper up again. Go ahead and lube up your O-rings. got your return spring. You got your molded piston, lube it up. Put that down and lube up the outside of this. You got this notch right here. You can put your reluctor wheel on there. You want to make sure it's lined up in that hole right there. And then when you press this down, you're going to want to go just far enough to get the snap ring in. Opening of the snap ring is going to go right here at the tab. Short end of the taper up again. Don't keep going or you will break that tab off. You might even break the drum. Alright, there we go. Alright, you got a D-ring, goes down in here. You have a D-ring that goes here. Make sure that the rounded edge is on the inside. If it's not going to seal properly. Go ahead and lube all that up, which I've already done. Your piston here has a D-ring here. Lube up the inside of this. Return spring here. Piston here. And you got your opening of your snap ring, short end of the taper up. You want the opening over in this recessed area right here. Okay, you have this bearing. The opening here is slightly smaller than the other one. The hub's going to go here. Alternate steels and clutches up. Step up on the pressure plate, snap ring. The other bearing sits on the front here. The input shaft has an O-ring that goes on here. Put your shaft in. And the snap ring, short end of the taper up, goes on the back. On this sun shell, the bushings have a certain depth. Do not block the lube hole that's in there. Smooth bushing goes up here. 2-notch bushing goes over here. And then the bearing goes with that side facing down. Alright, I already put this in there so I could take a picture, but there's a D-ring seal with the yellow stripe on it. It goes in there. Actually, I think I'm going to have to leave this out for a second so I can do the other piston. But lube this up. There's a D-ring seal that goes there. The bearing is going to sit on top once it's assembled. This piston here, here's a bearing here. You don't need to take it out. It's a bevel plate. Fingers face up towards you. And here, go press this bushing in. This bushing does have a way it has to go in. Those lube slots face this way. Smooth side faces this way. Do not block that lube hole down there. And once you get all that together, put this in here. You can push it down by hand and put your snap ring in. And I think I'm going to leave it out so that I got something to press against. But there's a bearing that goes on here. This side faces down. There's another bearing just like it that goes on the hub. That's on the this hub right here. It's going to sit right there just like that. And then our clutches. I'm going to start with a steel and an inside teeth clutch, and an outside teeth, and alternate all the way up. And then this piston presses on the back of that. Let's see how it goes in there. It goes in there this way, so it presses on it this way. Alright, the bushing that they gave in the kit does not have the oiling grooves like this one does, so I'm not going to change it. It still fits nice and tight, so I'm not too worried about that. This piston has a lip here, presses into the back of the piston here. Alright, looks like it's going to want to pooch out, so hopefully it'll stay in long enough that I can get this installed. May have to put this in the freezer, let it shrink. I don't know. See what we can do. Alright, lube this up. Lube this up. That felt weird. I don't know what that was. Alright, hopefully get this down in there. There we go. Okay. Now this bell valve plate fingers go down, and it has a tab, and I marked it, and that would be, it sits in the case this way, and the lube ports go this way, so this tab's actually about to 1 o'clock, so I need to change that. And then the opening of the snap ring was also over here where this tab was at. So I gotta come up with a way to press this down. And as this sits in the case, the clutch goes first. A steel clutch, another steel, and then the cushion plate on top. And this is gonna sit on top of that. And let's see, we got our snap ring in the back of here, and then these clutches and everything sit down inside the case, and this sits down on top of it. Oh, I gotta get this other piston in there. And I already lubed that up, so let me lube this up. Sit on there. This bell valve plate goes, and we're going to turn this so these fingers can sit down into that. Let's see if we can turn this. turn it just a little bit more. Alright, I think that's going to be good. And then our snap ring goes in here. And where did I mark it? So I'm marking right there. Alright, let me go get this pressed in. Okay, on the 2.9 piston here, we have this locating tab here. This tab goes opposite of that. And then when you're putting this together, these tabs, they're on the bell valve plate. You need to put the ones for this bell valve plate opposite, next to those, so that they're not on top of each other. And then the opening of this snap ring goes where this tab is at. And I was able to just push them in. I was going to put them on the press, but I found that they do just push in fairly easily, so that's what I did. And both of them do the same. So there's no need to put this one in a press. And you may need to move the bell valve plate around just a little bit to get your snap ring in there. Come on now. One, two, three, four clutch. Blue stripe on your D-shaped ring there. D-shaped ring there. Almost time for another tub of grease. Bell valve plate with the fingers down, and snap ring. Make sure that it does not appear that there's any certain way that needs to go. I may need to put this on the press, but we'll see if we can get it in there without doing that. Alright, I think I'm going to have to put this one in the press. Alright, cushion plate. Steel. Friction, steel, friction, pressure plate with the step up, snap ring, and sprag is turning counterclockwise, locking clockwise, and then when you apply it, it's going to lock it both directions. So it's working. I'll take apart the old one and let you see how it looks. I think I may know why these sprags are failing. There's an accumulator in here, and let me tell you, this dude was stuck. So I would imagine that is one of the reasons why these things are failing. I wonder if you could ream that out and put something, an oversized one in there. Don't know. Interesting. Okay, for your filter, usually comes with an O-ring on it. On your housing, there's another O-ring that goes on here. Filter pops into here. 3 10mm bolts hold that in. On your ring tower, just cut your rings off. You don't have to change these if it fits snug into the back of your drum. If it just falls in, you're going to want to change these things out. Just cut them out with a razor blade. And I'm only going to show you one just for time's sake. All three of them would be done the same. I'll let these resize for a while, and then we'll put them into the case. But just cut those off. Take these and stretch them out until you can get them over. You don't want to go too far. It just makes resizing it a pain. But go ahead and stretch it out enough that you can get it over. And they're going to start shrinking back down. So you may need to stretch it out just a little bit once you start going, because it's going to get a little bit smaller. Alright, get it onto the last one. You kind of mash that down a little bit. It helps just a little bit. And then what I do is I take a hose clamp and tighten it down on there. Gonna want to let it sit probably 5-10 minutes at the least, longer if you can. What I do is I get them, let it sit on here just long enough that I do the next one, and then I work my way up, and if need to, I reside, go back down to the bottom and shrink it down just a little bit again. Take it off and then immediately put it in the drum and let it sit there until I'm ready for it. Alright, so just let that sit for a little bit. Go on to the next one and keep going. And stick it in your drum. This one I'm probably gonna just go ahead and put it in the case. I may need to eventually take it back off and resize it again, but I need to get some of this filmed. Okay, the bushing that goes in here has a notch in it. You want to line that up with that and go just to the bottom of there. It is recessed from here to there 452 thousandths. Put your seal in, lube up your filter, 10mm bolts that hold those in. We got our ring tower, the feed hole right here. Make sure we get this feed hole right there. It's lining up with that right there. .30 Torx bolts that hold that in. And up here is our accumulator, hollow end up. Spring, washer, and the snap ring. I want the short end of the taper. Look at the tips of it. You'll see that there's a taper to it. You want the angle short end of the taper up. Some of these are a little bit hard to tell, but you just look at the tips of them there. You can usually see it. Alright, make sure that gets all the way down in that groove. I'm going to have to bring this back towards me to do this, so it's not going to be on camera. And I'll get you the torque specs for these. Okay, there's no need to take this out because there's no O-rings or nothing on it. But if you have the desire to take the guide out, there's a roll pin, and the pin goes through right here and holds it in right there. So I'll put that in a minute. Down here for your piston. Now this is what I've been told. I couldn't find the information anywhere. I knew it mattered, and I thought I marked the case, but apparently I did not, because I can't find my mark anywhere. Anyway, you have a bleed hole in your piston, which is right here. This bleed hole right there, you can see it going through. That's going to be at the 12 o'clock position. The snap ring opening is going to be one end over here, one end right there. So it's about the 10 o'clock position for the upper one. And the notch in the bell plate goes in this hole over here. Now the snap ring can be a pain to get in sometimes. What?
Does the
Alright, so as I was saying before I got interrupted, getting that snap ring in there can be a pain, and you're not going to be able to see it anyway. So once I get that snap ring in there, and then we'll be back. Okay, here's the snap ring in. I used a 6L80 3.5 reverse 1, 2, 3, 4 drum and put it in a press, and it worked fairly well. So take that for what it's worth. Put your bearing in, this side down. You could have left the drum in there, but I need to take a picture of it. You need your apply plate in there too also, and your drum assembly with your shell on it and your bearing on it. Okay, your cushion plate. And your steels. Let's figure out which way this goes. Okay, looks like it goes with the 2 tabs over here. And in the clutch, another steel and clutch. And then you can check your clearance right now and subtract it off of this pressure plate, and it should give you your clearance. You can also check it through here. It feels really good. So you put your bell valve spring in, bearing on your sun gear. You can push this down by hand and put your snap ring in. Okay. Put your drum assembly in. Put this bearing on, this side down. You're going to start with an inside tooth clutch first, face down, and an outside tooth. You're going to alternate that up. And you're going to end with another, actually I forgot to tell you, there is a steel that goes in the bottom. I think I mentioned it before, but I did forget to show it. It's down first. Then an inside tooth and an outside, alternate up. You're going to end with an inside tooth clutch. You got this bearing. Race side faces down. Alright. And we have our steels. And small tab is going to face over here. Alternate your clutches and your steels. I would put them in your support first so you know which way that they line up, and then figure out where your feed ports are. That's the small tab that you need to be facing over here. Cushion plate on top, and then your support goes down. You have to go fairly even on this. Tab facing at the 12 o'clock. Feed ports at the 3 o'clock. Small tab at the 12 o'clock. Big tab at the 6 o'clock. Alright, make sure it's sitting down in there like it's supposed to be. Alright, you got the sun gear, this side down. You got this planetary, this side facing down. Yeah, come on, baby. Drop in there. That thing is being a real snot. I got this bearing, this side down, this bearing with the lip up. This planet, the sun gear with the ID mark up, this bearing, this side up, this planet with this bearing facing that way. Okay, now we can put our sprag assembly in. Alright, you have a beveled snap ring. Bevel faces up. Opening over here at the 3 o'clock position, and this thing is really stout, so watch yourself while you're putting it in there. Move this over just a tad bit more. Right there. Make damn sure that it's up inside that groove. Okay, inner shell. Alright, I believe it's. And this bearing lip goes down. And this bearing lip goes down. Chain goes with the blue links up. Sprocket goes with the bearing down. Oh, we got to come back out. Almost forgot our lube dam. 2 8mm that hold it in, 80 inch-pounds. Now we put our sprockets in. Nope. Nope. And then we got our chain guide, and I think I'm putting it in upside down. Make sure we're going the right direction. This way. Yeah, way right there. And our sprockets. Blue link of the chain up. Alright, this bearing, that side down. This washer, make sure it's notched into the gear properly. Alright, sun gear of the diff with the bearing on top. And then our differential. There we go. We got our seal assembly. It goes over here. Okay. just drive your lever seal in. Then over here, you got your IMS assembly. It's going to sit in there just like so. Your selector shaft has a hole in it. Just put your roll pin in and drive it in equidistance when it's in. Don't know if you can get a view of that, but we're in there. Alright, and part Paul. Park spring. This is going to loop around the park pawl right there. Just like that right there. Drop your bell housing on. Alright, the bolts are 89 inch-pounds plus 50 degrees. Okay, I made a mistake in telling you that put silicone on there. I'm thinking of the Ford version of this, the 8F35. It does not use a gasket, it uses silicone. The Chevy does use a gasket, and if you don't put the gasket on there, your clearance is going to come out wrong. So you got to use the gasket. Once you get your 13 millimeters in there, 89 inch-pounds plus 50 degrees. Over here we have our output speed sensor and an 8 millimeter that hold, or 10 millimeter that holds that in. We have our baffle here that goes in. There's an O-ring on here, and better lube that up. And there's a 10 millimeter that holds that on. And then up here we have our detent. And my bolt is escaping me at the moment. There's a little tab right here, goes in right there. Make sure that this roller gets in between your neutral switch there, or it will not work properly. So once you get that on there, tighten that down. We have 5 tubes. And then we got check balls. I believe there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe there's 4. Let me go get my check ball. Okay, there are 5. There's 1 right there. 1 right there. 1 right there. 1 there. And 1 up here. Alright, we're at a standstill till the valve body gets here. Okay, so you're not going to be able to see this because I'm going to have to hit the camera. I'm going to have to turn this towards me, but you want the manual valve, this part of the manual valve, in that part of the IMS switch right there. And then just put your bolts in. Let's see if we can get a good view of this. Might be up a little bit high. Just put your bolts in the outside. Go ahead and tighten those down. And then put your solenoid body on. Okay, the 4 that go here are 2-inch 415, 1-inch 690. And you're going to want to go ahead and put your detent back on. It does have to be off to put that bolt in. That's right there. Okay, 3.948 are the long ones. .590 are the medium sized ones, and that's the short one. Get that out of my hand. And then 2-inch 795 are the 3 short ones. Alright, put your connector in, plug in your IMS switch, flip your tab over, plug in your output speed sensor and flip the tab over. Goes this way. Alright, down here you got a number. You're going to want to record that number and give that to the programmer so that they can program it. Alright, 71 inch-pounds on the valve body. Change your gasket on your pan. We have studs that go there, there, there. Yep. That bolt don't go there. And I think I got this one in the wrong spot. This one goes down here. And the others are like that. These are 8 foot-pounds. Put your speed sensor in, tighten it down to 80 inch-pounds. Your fill cap in with the O-ring. I think we already talked about that. Put your clips on your fittings, and there's O-rings down inside there. If you need to know how to put those O-rings on, I do have a video about cooler line fittings. You just dig the O-ring out, pop the new one in there, and you just pop the clip on the... See if I can get it in here. It's kind of tight spot. Might be easier to pull this fitting off and do it. You just put it on one side of the cutout and then pop it around the other side. And it's wanting to be difficult. Anyhow, you get the gist of it. I guess that's it for this one, and we'll see you on the next one. Come on, baby, pop in there. I think I will just pull this fitting off and get up in there, because it's being difficult. Alright, you got your bleed screw, your 2 O-rings, your flat ring. .13mm bolts, 24 foot-pounds. O-ring on your filler cap. And I'm going to try to put this at the end, and so this will be it for this unit when we're done, and we'll see you on the next one.